Have you ever met someone incredibly intelligent? Someone with impressive degrees, years of experience, and a reputation for being the smartest person in the room? Then one day they make a decision so unbelievably bad that everyone around them is left asking the same question: how could someone that smart do something that stupid? Maybe it was a successful entrepreneur who destroyed his business because he ignored obvious warning signs. Maybe it was a brilliant investor who lost millions chasing one reckless opportunity. Maybe it was a talented student who wasted years of potential. Or maybe it was you, because here's a truth that most people don't understand. Intelligence does not protect you from bad decisions. In fact, sometimes intelligence makes bad decisions more likely. That sounds ridiculous. We're taught to believe that smart people make better choices, more knowledge, more logic, more information, better outcomes. But reality tells a different story. History is filled with brilliant people who made catastrophic mistakes. Not because they lacked intelligence, because intelligence and decision-making are not the same thing. Decision-making is controlled by something much deeper: human psychology. The first trap is overconfidence. And overconfidence is dangerous because it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like certainty. The more success a person experiences, the more they begin trusting their own judgment. At first, that's useful. Confidence helps people take action. Confidence helps people lead. Confidence helps people take risks. But eventually, confidence can evolve into arrogance. And arrogance creates a blind spot. The moment someone starts believing they are too smart to be wrong, they stop asking questions. They stop listening. They stop learning. And that's where mistakes begin. The smartest people often become victims of overconfidence because they have evidence supporting their belief. They've been right before. They've been rewarded before. People respect them. People listen to them. So when a warning appears, they assume they can handle it. Unfortunately, reality doesn't care how intelligent you are. Reality only cares whether your decision is correct. A bad decision remains a bad decision even when a genius makes it. The second trap is ego. Most people think ego is about bragging. It's not. Ego is your need to protect the image you have of yourself. And intelligent people often have a very strong image of themselves. They see themselves as rational, logical, capable, competent. So when evidence appears showing they might be wrong, their ego immediately becomes defensive. Instead of changing their mind, they start defending their position. Instead of asking, what if I'm wrong? They ask, how can I prove I'm right? That's a dangerous difference. Because once the goal becomes protecting your ego, instead of finding the truth, bad decisions become inevitable. The third trap is something psychologists call confirmation bias. This bias affects everyone, but intelligent people are often better at justifying it. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for information that supports what you already believe, and ignore information that challenges it. Imagine someone becomes convinced that an investment will succeed. From that moment forward, they begin collecting evidence that supports their opinion. Positive articles, optimistic predictions, success stories. At the same time, they dismiss warnings, ignore criticism, and reject opposing viewpoints. Not because the warnings are wrong, because the warnings are uncomfortable. The frightening part is that intelligent people are often better at constructing arguments, which means they're better at convincing themselves. They can build complex explanations that make terrible decisions sound reasonable. And that's exactly what makes the trap so dangerous. Intelligence becomes a tool for self-deception. The fourth trap is emotional blindness. People like to believe that smart individuals make purely logical decisions. But nobody operates without emotion. Nobody. Fear influences decisions. Greed influences decisions. Pride influences decisions. Jealousy influences decisions. The difference is that intelligent people often create logical explanations for emotional decisions. They don't see the emotion. They see the justification. That's why someone can spend months defending a terrible choice. Not because the choice makes sense, because admitting the truth would hurt their pride. And pride can be expensive, sometimes extremely expensive. The fifth trap is complexity. Highly intelligent people often fall in love with complicated solutions. Simple answers feel too easy, too obvious, too ordinary, so they search for complexity. But reality often rewards simplicity. The best diet is usually not complicated. The best financial advice is usually not complicated. The best productivity systems are usually not complicated. Yet people constantly search for hidden secrets. Why? Because complexity feels intelligent. Simplicity feels boring. Unfortunately, reality doesn't reward what sounds impressive. It rewards what works. There's another reason intelligent people make poor decisions. They become attached to being right. At first, this seems harmless. After all, nobody enjoys being wrong. But over time, some people begin treating every disagreement like a battle. Every criticism feels like an attack. Every opposing opinion feels like a threat. And every mistake becomes something to hide rather than something to learn from. This creates a dangerous cycle. The smarter someone is, the easier it becomes to defend a bad decision. They can find better arguments, better explanations, better excuses, not to discover the truth, but to protect their pride. And the longer they defend the decision, the more difficult it becomes to walk away from it. Psychologists call this escalation of commitment. People continue investing time, energy, and resources into a failing choice simply because they've already invested too much. Instead of asking, what's the best decision now? They ask, how can I justify the decision I already made? That single shift in thinking has destroyed businesses, destroyed relationships, destroyed fortunes, and sometimes destroyed entire lives. Because intelligence is not measured by how strongly you defend your beliefs. True intelligence is measured by how quickly you can abandon a belief when reality proves it wrong. The ability to change your mind may be one of the most valuable skills a person can ever develop. The sixth trap is believing intelligence equals wisdom. It doesn't. Intelligence helps you acquire information. Wisdom helps you use it correctly. Intelligence helps you solve problems. Wisdom helps you avoid creating them. Intelligence tells you what can be done. Wisdom tells you what should be done. And history repeatedly proves that wisdom matters more than intelligence. Some of the smartest people who ever lived destroyed their own lives because they lacked wisdom. Meanwhile, many ordinary people built extraordinary lives through good judgment and consistent decisions. The truth is that wisdom begins with humility, the willingness to admit, I might be wrong. That's one of the hardest sentences for intelligent people to say, because being right often becomes part of their identity. But growth requires uncertainty. Growth requires questioning yourself. Growth requires admitting that your current beliefs might be incomplete. The people who make the best decisions are not the people who are always right. They're the people who constantly test their assumptions. They seek disagreement. They welcome criticism. They challenge their own thinking because they understand something most people never learn. The goal is not to protect your ego. The goal is to discover the truth. And truth doesn't care how smart you are. Truth only cares whether you're willing to see it. So the next time you find yourself absolutely certain about something, pause. Ask yourself one question. What if I'm wrong? That single question has saved people from bankruptcy, destroyed bad investments before they became disasters, prevented failed relationships, protected careers, and changed lives. Because certainty feels powerful, but certainty is often where growth dies. The moment you stop questioning yourself is the moment you stop improving. The moment you assume you're too smart to fail is the moment failure becomes most dangerous. Humility is not weakness. Humility is protection. Humility keeps your mind open. Humility allows you to learn. Humility allows you to adapt. Humility allows you to see reality clearly. And reality is where better decisions are made. The smartest people are not the people who never make mistakes. They're the people who recognize mistakes before those mistakes destroy their future. They're willing to change course, willing to admit they're wrong, willing to learn from people who know more than they do. Because intelligence without humility becomes arrogance, and arrogance eventually creates consequences. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below. I could be wrong, because humility is not weakness. It's one of the highest forms of intelligence. And if you want more lessons on psychology, human nature, self-awareness, and better decision-making, hit the like button and subscribe. Because sometimes the biggest danger isn't being foolish. It's being smart enough to believe you can't be fooled.